Delegate from Norfolk, Delegate Jones.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
Delegate Jones, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of the House, today as we recognize Black History Month, I rise to share the story of Gregory Swanson. His name might not be familiar to many of you, but to students of history and the civil rights movement, his name is among the pantheon of heroes. Born in Danville, Swanson studied law at Howard University in Washington, D.C., and started his law practice in Martinsville. At the age of 25, Swanson developed an interest in teaching, but that required a master's degree to do so. Swanson wanted to study in-state because it would be decidedly cheaper than going out of state and had no other choice but to apply to the University of Virginia to pursue an advanced degree. Now, the year was 1949, and at that time, no Virginia university offered admission to Black graduate students. 14 years earlier, Richmonder Alice Jackson had applied to UVA for her graduate studies, and in the aftermath of her race-based rejection, Virginia began paying Black residents to attend graduate schools out of state. Ever the attorney, Swanson filed suit against the university to admit him to its law school. Years later, Swanson's nephew admitted that the lawsuit was the brainchild of Charles Hamilton Houston's attempt to desegregate higher education through the NAACP's Legal Defense Fund. Swanson's case drew the legal giants of the day, including Thurgood Marshall, Oliver Hill, Martin A. Martin, Spotswood Robinson, and many others from the Legal Defense Fund, who all assisted him in pursuing this lawsuit, which played out in federal court in Charlottesville on September 5th, 1990. After a 30-minute trial and deliberation, a three-judge panel decided Gregory Hayes Swanson versus the rector and visitors of the University of Virginia in Swanson's favor. A mere 10 days later, he registered for classes just in time for the first day of school. Once in Charlottesville, Swanson rented a room at the Carver Inn, which was located in Vinegar Hill, a historically Black part of the city. He walked about a mile each way to class every day. And he once wrote his sister Marguerite describing about how he traveled. He would be stared at by whites who no doubt recognized him as the first Black student to go on the grounds. I should like to read their minds, he stated in a letter, and sometimes I think that I do. Swanson was not in segregated classrooms or at the events that he attended on grounds. Professors also had Swanson over to their homes for meetings, just as the advisors did with the other students. Among the other students, he developed several close friends, but not all of his peers were as welcoming. Swanson heard a casual conversation between his classmates once and that said, "We should get him out of the law school, and yes, I am substituting him for a racial epithet." Referencing the UVA honor system, Swanson addressed the incident in a personal correspondence by saying to pledge not to steal, lie, cheat, and etc., and yet be permitted under the same pledge to say humiliating things about another student puts the honor system in question. After private practice in Martinsville and Alexandria, Swanson entered public service in 1961 as an attorney for the IRS and worked there until his retirement in 1984. He died on July 26, 1992 at his home in Maryland. And I want to admit to you all today that I didn't know who Gregory Swanson was or his story before I began my studies at UVA Law 8 years ago. But I quickly learned about his bravery and his courage. Without his sacrifice, I would not have been able to walk those halls 6 years later as a first-year law student. Swanson inspired me and every other Black lawyer at UVA and beyond to persevere, push through, and to never be deterred. Because of Swanson, this descendant of historically Black universities, and this proud alumnus of our state's finest law school, I can dream big, aspire to make an impact, and know that no milestone is out of reach. I stand before you today to let you know that I and so many others stand on the shoulders of this giant, and that his memory will continue to live on and go about breaking barriers each and every day. With Swanson in our hearts, we charge forward, walking as he walked to that law school classroom each day, unwavering, unafraid, and unbroken. Thank you, Madam Speaker.